Okay, so this movie, it has an incredible opening monologue,
Yes, yes, thank
and
you. Yes.
you, this is you've done it your whole career, but
Yeah.
recently it's like the thing you do, and I'm
Yeah.
curious, what's that prep like? And then I was reading, obviously, from the press notes, you rehearsed with Gore a lot, but what's that prep like? And then
Yeah.
when you're filming it, how are you keeping it interesting?
Well, that was big part of Gore's job was to make it physical, the diner monologue. And he did a great job with that. We got a stunt guy to help us with that. Um, Choreograph a couple of sketchy stunt stuff. And then, some of it in that outfit was like almost 40 pounds. So being agile in it was a trick, Jumping on tables and stuff was a bit of a trick. And it was not evenly distributed, that weight, So I actually wore a weight vest at the gym to prepare for it, but it didn't really tell me anything. It really couldn't prepare me for what was going on with that suit. That suit was really, it was a lot, It was really a lot, but it looked cool. There was a battery. One time the battery overheated. I had like 6 dressers, had a cooling suit, like astronauts have, and it was pretty intense. So I think but physicalizing the monologue was great, and made it less boring,
Yeah.
Not that it was boring to begin with, but I prepped it the way I prep stuff, and then, but the monologue's beautiful. I mean, Matthew Robinson wrote a great script, and there's several monologues in that movie. There's about 5 monologues, that being the biggest one. And then, of course, by the time I got to White Lotus, I was monologued up, because I'd also done a play before Good Luck, Have Fun. And then I went straight from South Africa after Good Luck, Have Fun and right into Thailand,
Were you doing, was that American Buffalo?
Yeah, it was American Buffalo. I did the fucking Ruthie speech.
I saw you in that. You
Yeah.
were great.
Yeah, the famous fucking Ruthie speech, and then...
I was going to say, American Buffalo is like all monologues.
Yeah, it's a bunch of monologues. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ruthie being the famous one. But, yeah, that was with Darren Criss and Lawrence Fishburne, and so I was really monologued up.
You're ready.
Yeah, by the time I got to White Lotus. So if they dug White Lotus, they're going to dig this even more, I think. This one's even crazier.
Yeah, no, it was really well done. I think, and then to that end, like, so with Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, like, I'm always curious about this. Gore Verbinski is famously a visual filmmaker, right? So there's so much happening in camera, right? I imagine the setups on a Gore Verbinski movie are sometimes more complicated than your regular kind of independent film. So when you're working with him, is that its own fun challenge of like, okay, so with the camera is going to start here, it's going to end here, we're going to use this small lens. Like as an actor, is that are you approaching that differently, or is it just added element to it?
Which part of it? Just because it's Gore?
I always think of like Sam Raimi and Gore, like the camera's flying around, and I'm always wondering, like, I imagine there's just more choreography as an actor with the camera.
Yeah, I think you're not wrong. I think that the great directors like Gore and Sam Raimi, they know how to move the camera,
Right.
And that's important. So yeah, there is a bit of choreography. You have to kind of like, some of it's tricky, and then you got a lot of words. So I was doing what I would do for theater, which is voice warm-ups every day, because I had to do it over and over again. So I don't normally do voice warm-ups for film, but this was a very theatrical piece, so I had to do voice warm-ups quite a bit. Because I didn't want to blow my voice out. I was doing these really loud sections,
Yeah.
And I was.
What was the hardest? Do you remember like the hardest sequence setup?
I think that crossing the tables and doing the Gestapo parody of that was sort of the that was a tricky one. Actually, it's actually a little trickier than it might look,
When you're like stomping on the tables.
Yeah, because I couldn't look down at my feet to see where I was walking, so it was tricky the way to sort of do that safely.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I always think that is always things you wouldn't expect often are.
Oh yeah.
Because in the movie, it feels very natural, obviously, as it should. And
Yeah, I mean, sliding on my knees was really fun. That was easy. I got some knee pads and just went shh. That's like Fosse stuff.
Right.
oh yeah,
Right. Yeah.
Some of that stuff is really cool. Yeah.
So now jumping back to young Sam, there's been so much good work. It's
Yeah,
funny
thanks.
when we do the podcast, when we're lucky enough to have someone on who we can talk about their own B-sides with, it's great. But it's always it's like kind of discovering things for the first time. So I'm just going to list off, just as a primer, a few movies
Yeah.
that me and Connor were kind of watching and discovering. So stuff like Lawn Dogs, Safe Men, Snow Angels, and The Winning Season were like a few movies that we were like, wow, like these are kind of great small movies that, like, even like Snow Angels feels that got some attention, but even that, David Gordon Green, only his third movie. Right, like he had, or fourth maybe.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
He had been, so he was in the pocket. But like, even stuff like you worked with Richard Shepard on that movie Mercy, like so long ago. And I
Wow, you
was
guys are
just
going
like,
back. Yeah.
But it's funny, like the Linguini incident came out last year. He like re-released it finally. So I went back and I was watching his stuff, and I was like, oh my God, that's right. Like there was all this stuff.
I've never
where that-
seen
anyway.
the Linguini incident. What is that?
Oh, it was right before Mercy. It's like it's his like first movie.
Wow.
It's David Bowie. It's good. It's weird. It's a
Wow,
weird
Wow.
all in a restaurant.
I love
Yeah.
Richard Shepard very much. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's the thing with these movies. Like I guess just like with Safe Men, right? We were lucky enough to have Steve Zahn on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
ago. And so we talked with him about Safe Men a little bit. That's such a great little movie. What do you?
Did he tell you about when we cracked up the first day? We couldn't stop laughing. Did he tell you about that?
I don't know. I don't think so. Tell us.
No.
Yeah, we had a good time on that, man. Peter Dinklage.
So there's a John Hamburg.
Yeah. Harvey Firestein. We had Paul Giamatti,
Yep.
Michael Lerner. So many great people on that. Yeah.
It's kind of it's a little bit more of a
Mark Ruffalo.
kind of, yeah. It's kind of a quieter comedic performance from you than like maybe something you'd be more in the pocket for a little later on. Like,
Yeah.
is that you, if you can remember, like, is that you just bouncing off of Steve Zahn's more kind of aggrieved energy, or like,
Right.
was that the two of you just kind of clowning around and figuring it out, or?
Yeah,
How much does Hamburg weigh?
we probably, in the auditions for A.V. Kaufman, we probably swapped parts. I think Phil Hoffman was going to play the Josh Pais part at one point, and then, we all kind of came in for that. It was a
Right.
great script. Nobody had ever heard of John Hamburg, and we went in. He was this nice guy. I kind of imitated John a little bit when I did that. John did this thing where he'd kind of hold on to his shirt like this, kind of a nervous habit. And so, yeah, I mean, the character's kind of, a Woody Allen archetype, I suppose, or like
Like a timid.
a Michael Cera archetype,
Sure, yeah.
Early Michael Cera kind of vibe. I could see Michael doing that. Now Michael does a lot of different kinds of roles, but he was great in the one with the Wes Anderson one. He was fabulous in that.
Fits right in, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that was kind of my a little bit of a straight man,
Yeah, you're the lead. I mean, it's an
Yeah.
ensemble, but you have the romance and
Yeah. When you do a lead, someone told me, you have to be a little more. You can't be as bright a color all the time on the canvas, You have to carry the film, like the way Kevin Costner would do in Field of Dreams or The Untouchables. He can't flash like Sean Connery or Andy Garcia, like the way he has to be slow and steady wins the race a little bit.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I'm just jumping to it's funny, like Lawn Dogs and The
Yeah.
Winning Season, you're working with kids.
Yes, yes.
young Misha
yeah.
Barton, which is so funny.
Yeah.
And then like you are kind of doing that. Like they're very like interesting roles, but you can tell you're allowing for these co-stars who are
Yeah.
younger in these cases to kind of spark a little bit.
Yeah,
And there's some in both movies. There's some great moments. Winning Season is, I think, like a really underrated. I'm like, I don't know, I'm a
thanks,
huge-
man. I love that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great small like It's a good basketball. I mean, it's one of those funny like.
Yeah.
You really do capture. You know the Winning Season and the Way Back starring Ben Affleck.
Oh
is a
yeah.
beautiful kind of sad, tender double feature of
Totally.
sports movies. But I guess like so with movies like that, right? And so in that case, you're in the lead. Is it just what are you? I guess you've worked on every biggest, smallest movies. Is there any big difference? Is it just prep time and trailer size? I mean, is ultimately the core thing is the same?
I think that the core thing's the same. It depends on the role. If you're playing like a misanthrope, like in the Winning Season, Snow Angels is more of a slightly disturbed guy, you know. Or rather, very disturbed guy. And I got a recommendation from actually Brad Pitt when I was doing Jesse James about these guys who are born again Christians who blow up abortion clinics, and I forgot what it was called, but I watched that. That was very helpful. You know, but that's more of a Travis Bickle kind of archetype, or like, you know, an Eric Roberts, early Eric, you know, that kind of thing. And when it comes to like, George Clooney taught me really a lot on Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, how to, you know, kind of not do too much, you know. You come in with, you know, 5 props and, you know, a mustache and a Bozo the Clown nose, you know. It's like, you know, you just need to be simple sometimes. You know, Alan Rickman taught me that for Charlie's Angels. And so, you know, like, sometimes you just need to be simple, whether you're playing a villain or a hero. But certain roles require certain things. But yeah, I've definitely drawn from a lot of Walter Matthau, Bad News Bears, you know, Billy Bob, Bad Santa kind of vibes.
Well, I was going to ask you when you were coming up.
Yeah.
You know, did you have an actor you were like, I want to be this guy, or not really?
Yeah. Well, I think it was probably Robert De Niro, and then I, you know, rewatched a lot of stuff. Christopher Walken, Gene Hackman, Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino, Meryl Streep, Morgan Freeman. I'd say definitely, you know, Al Pacino.
But Mathau's an interesting one, though.
Yeah, Matthau was a big one for me. Yeah.
He's kind of an underrated lead now, I feel.
Yeah. His
Like-
performance in Bad News Bears is pretty extraordinary, you know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. You're kind of doing a little of that in the Winning Season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and then there was, you know, also stealing from Bust and Loose, Richard Pryor and Bust and Loose.
Oh God, you're right. Of course.
I watched that a lot for the Winning Season. Yeah, that's an underrated
funny.
film. Cicely Tyson. Yeah.
You name check Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Bill Murray. Bill Murray's somebody, you know, Bill Murray. Yeah, Christopher Walken is now, a friend of mine actually. We did a play
Right, I was going to
together.
say you got to.
Oh, yeah, Seven Psychopaths, too.
On
Yeah, we
Seven
did a movie and a
Psychopaths,
play
yeah.
together. Yeah, we're friends. Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
I wanted to ask. I rewatched Seven Psychopaths.
Yes.
Just the other day, and it's
Me and Connor, we quote your lines
love
from
that
that movie all
performance.
the time.
I
so
like that
much.
movie a lot.
Yeah.
I really like that movie.
You do this thing in it. I think a lot of the McDonagh script and comedy is geared in repetition, and it reminded me of your David Mamet work too, because that's such
Oh,
a,
yeah.
such a Mamet thing.
Yeah.
But you have is that like how much of that is you like is McDonagh's script Bible and you're just doing it, or like is that you kind of carrying over things that you know work comedically?
No, his script is Bible, but we fuck around sometimes. We fucked around on the last one. I did one with John Malkovich.
Oh, you're coming out, right, next year?
Yeah, he lets us fuck around a little bit, but his scripts don't really need any fixing, you know.
Right. Yeah.
They're foolproof, you know. it's mainly about the interpretation and stuff like that. But Martin and I, we talked about Travis Bickle for Seven Psychopaths. Obviously,
Sure.
the guy's name is Billy Bickle.
Right. You have the scene in the mirror where you're prepping for the
Yeah,
party. and
exactly.
it's-
I mean,
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
that's derivative.
So good.
So we watched some of that. I think we definitely took from Travis Bickle and maybe a little Mean Streets. You know, Martin's a Scorsese fan. In fact, I think we sat down and watched. We were just going to watch a couple of scenes from Taxi Driver, and then we ended up watching the whole thing together. We just sat on my couch and watched the whole thing. And then we, ran through some of the lines and stuff. Yeah.
It's amazing that movie's just become like an text for like so much acting.
It's really like
It's
one of the
kinda
great
crazy.
minimalistic, film performances. I'd say that, and like Tender Mercies, and Isabella Huppert and The Piano Teacher. There's certain kinds of performances where, like Montgomery Clift and Everything
Place
You
of
Did.
the Sun.
Just like minimalistic kind of acting.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling's very good at that. Like in Drive.
Now let
Mickey
as
Rourke.
we kind of
Yeah.
as we come to the kind of end here, I wanted to ask you. Obviously, you mentioned a lot of
Yeah.
movies. Is there one performance or movie where you're always like, I wish I would recommend people see this? It could be a big one too, but anything that sparks.
Yeah. I mean, I love Snow Angels. I'm always trying to. I'd rather do sort of minimalistic stuff on film, but I'm always getting called upon to. I mean, Lawn Dogs is probably more minimalistic to some degree, I guess, but I always get called upon to do a lot of schmacting.
I don't know. Conviction. That's an.
Oh yeah,
interesting
Conviction's a
performance.
nice kind of like that's kind of a more typical kind of
Doing like a dead man walking thing.
Yeah,
there.
for sure,
Doing-
for sure.
doing your own thing.
Yeah,
you
for
know, but,
sure, for sure. Yeah,
I think.
I like
But yeah, I
Conviction.
think. Yeah, that's an under
Yeah.
that should be kind of rediscovered.
Definitely.
But good luck. But bring it back. So with the good luck, have fun, don't die. I do think the positive kind of the nice thing about this movie
Yeah.
is you're kind of doing everything.
Yeah, we were calling upon the initial conversation with Gore. I was sort of channeling some Kurt Russell, and then
Right.
he said, it's too cool what you're doing. This guy's not the best guy for the job. He's the bottom of the list. So like, he's kind of a goofball.
Right.
And so we were going for Robin Williams, Fisher King, Christopher Lloyd, of course, and Back to the Future, and then maybe a little 12 Monkeys, Brad Pitt, Bruce Willis, and some stuff like that,
Well, it works, man.
And a
Congrats
little Don
on-
Rickles.
Well, yeah, which that's a little works.
Yeah.
It works well. Well, congrats on the movie.
Thanks, man.
It was good talking to you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
And,
thanks so much for your time.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
Yeah, have a good one.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right.